Big week, guys. Big week. Welcome back, everybody. Adam Patterson here for Volume 4 of Building Patterson Logistics week by week with the recaps here. And we started off with our back end. Everything that operates through the back end. If we don't have our back end operating correctly, we can't even do front end. There's no point in doing front end if our back end is not in a smooth and sailing spot. So our back end was getting all of our customers' payables up to date, paid to us, and we finally completed that. Last week, we had 6 out of 7 who had completely paid us, and we were back on track. We are now up to 7 out of 7 who were behind on their bills or just maxed out on their credit lines. They're paid. They're now back in operations as of this week. Middle of this week is about when it happened. So as of next week, we are going to be back in full force. Operationally, we were slightly less than our average recently. We've been running somewhere between 40 and 50 loads a week. This week, we ran around 30. Next week, now that every customer is paid up, their credit lines are actually filled once again, as in they paid them. They're not overdue anymore. We have credit to work with. We can now quote pretty aggressively on our customer bases and gain more freight, win more freight, create more revenue, which then gives us the opportunity to create more margin. If you don't know how brokerage works in this space, you take the spread. You get the margin from what you quote to a customer to what you actually pay a truck or a carrier, and you keep the spread. And then, of course, we still have operating expenses. We still have other operating costs. So the gross margin that we make is not the net margin that we keep. So we need as much margin as we can possibly get. Percentage-wise, we would prefer it to be higher. But overall, once you get past your costs, every additional dollar helps. So we are already past our cost, and now we just need additional dollars. Of course, there is always a percentage of operating expense that's going to go directly out the door towards costs. Otherwise, it just happens. That's just kind of how it goes. Next week, or I guess this week in review still, strong sales activity. Activity in sales, we are not as active as we once were. Once upon a time, we were sending out far more emails, somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 emails per week to our prospects. We've slowed it down, and we've tried to make everything a bit more intentional. We've tried to make sure that we're actually putting the correct offers in front of prospects, opposed to just branding or just being in front of them for the sake of being in front of them. We want to be in front of them with an offer that they can actually act upon. We don't just want to be in front of them just to have our names out there. It's not quite the same thing. It's great if you're sending product or marketing material or something to a prospect to have your name in front of them. But when you're just in their inbox or on their phone and the sole intention is just to keep speaking with them, opposed to having an offer or having something valuable to say to them in terms of an offer, we've stopped that. We've muted that button. We may pick it back up in the future because it has been helpful at times, but more often than not, it more likely ends us up in a spot where it's like, this guy's just calling me to waste their time. And that is not where we want to be. It is not how we actually operate. And we've slowed that down a little bit. So now every touch point that we have with a prospect or with a customer, it's with an offer, or we don't just touch base, is what I'm trying to get at here. Our new customer count is going pretty well. We're strong in the market that we're in. This is not a market where everybody's giving out opportunities left and right. This is more of a market of where people lean into the partnerships that they have held near and dear because it's more difficult. People need to trust you in this point in time, and it's pretty hard to create trust on a cold call, and it definitely is more difficult to do if you've reached out to somebody for 2 years and they haven't given you a shot yet. So we have taken a pretty strong approach to how we're marketing ourselves, the offers that we're putting out there, how we provide social proof and proof on other forms. And with that, we're still averaging pretty well. We're averaging about 1.5 new customers per month, which is not bad in terms of business to business. We're not just bringing on any new client. We're not accepting all clients, unfortunately. Fortunately for us, We don't bring on people who, if we email them, they immediately put us on what I call a whores list, where they say, we accept anybody, we just go with the lowest price. We send out everything to 50-ish brokers or whatever, and whoever gives us the best price, that's who we work with. We don't even quote those runs. We're added to a lot of lists. We could technically have a lot more customers than we have at this current moment, but we are not going to just bring on any business just to have business. We want someone who we can grow with, who wants to grow with us. And those are the partnerships that we're really looking for. We're looking for more of a vendor customer relationship where we can lean on one another, ask questions, really build together in terms of our operations. If we look to scale and add more account executives, we want to have somebody here who can potentially practice by cold calling on a true transportation manager, a true logistics manager, and either get hung up on or just put them through the ringer. You know what I mean? And we want more partnerships like that. We want people who we can bring to meetings, and we want people that we can go to meetings with. We don't necessarily want the people who will just go, we work with anyone and everyone, and we replace anybody if they don't give us the best price. So we look for somebody that who values the service that we bring to the table. And if they don't, then we're not the right vendor for them, and they're not the right customer for us. You know what I mean? Likewise, on a marketing front, we are going through a transition period. As I said, we don't just make our calls and send emails anymore just to be in front of our prospects. It worked out in the very beginning. It helped us get a lot of opportunity. But now that times have changed, the way that we sell and the way that we go to market needs to change. And we want to be a little bit more strategic. We are not a vendor for everybody, so we don't need to be reaching everybody, meaning we don't need to send out as many emails. We don't need to make as many cold calls. We need to make the right emails or send the right emails and make the correct cold calls. And if that's the case, then we should focus more on cold emailing the correct people, follow up with the correct people that are already in our pipeline than we should on brand new starts with brand new companies. Obviously, we always want to be prospecting, but our number of new prospects may go down until a day comes when we've already reached out to everybody who's in our current pipeline. We want to make sure that we extract as much value from our pipeline as we can. We worked very hard to build it. We worked very hard to put our marketing messages, our branding messages in front of our prospects so they know who we are, what we do, when they can reach us, and how we can help them. Therefore, we want to make sure that we can actually capitalize on that because we've already put in that upfront effort. Why would you start brand new efforts on brand new prospects to hear the same exact things? Even if they may convert a little bit faster, they're still not the market that we were going for originally. And I want to get back to our original messaging and marketplace, our initial ICP that we had set in stone, that we kind of scurried away from when we may have gotten slower or we changed things up a little bit too quick. Which then brings me to a message that I want to put out for everyone and anyone, and especially myself. I do a lot of reading, and if you are going into business for yourself, likely you learn individually. You probably read books, you read news articles, you listen to podcasts, you listen to books, and you have a lot of ideas that go through your head. And one of the things that you will have to fight yourself with is trying to change what you do quickly based upon a new idea that comes into your head. And here's an example for you. I send out an initial email to a prospect, and it usually describes who I am, who we are, what we do, how I help, the problems that we serve, right? You can very quickly change how you want to do that because it's just changing the words that you say in an email or changing the words that you say on a phone call or changing your tonality and changing your voice, changing everything that you do. And it's very easy to change things when you aren't seeing immediate success, but you have to realize that you're not going for the immediate conversion anymore. You're still going for a longer term conversion, or maybe you are, and you can push that envelope a little bit, but you don't want to change who you are, your messaging, and your brand too often. And you definitely don't want to change your positioning. And when you start to read more marketing material, more sales material, more business material. You start to listen to it. All of these ideas start to play around in your head, and you go, maybe I need to change this up again, or maybe I need to do this, or maybe I need to do that. And then you completely change the way that you go to market and that you speak to your prospects and that you speak about who you are. And you don't want to do it. That's like putting your money in a stock to just sell the stock 5 minutes later. You need to let it mature a little bit. So treat it more like a bond. Give everything that you do, give your go-to-market strategy, give your sales and marketing materials 6 months, 3 months, 8 months, 10 months, 12 months to work and work for you to see how much they're actually going to pay off. You need time in the game with whatever position that you're in. And that's just how you got to do it. So that's really a message to myself because we change things up a little bit too often, and I don't want our team to be doing that any further. So now we're kind of going to not set ourselves in stone, but we're going to absolutely set down roots for our position as if we are here, we're grounded, this is our foundation, and this is where we operate from, and here is what we do because of that, opposed to changing it every so often. That's this week's recap, guys. I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.